The first mock draft Monday of 2024, the New England Patriots say forget drafting a quarterback. They attack the trenches with Joe Alt, left tackle out of Notre Dame. We're going to talk about this and more coming up next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, family? Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers, and happy new year to you. Happy 2024. I'm your boy Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find and follow me on X at DP_NFL. I'm a national scout and a senior draft analyst, and I gotta kick this intro over to my partner in crime, my brother, Mr. LSU, Keith Sanchez. You can find and follow him on X at The Talent Code. Keep talking to him, baby.
What's up, Locked On family? This is Keith Sanchez, 2019 national champ with those LSU Bengal Tigers, man. On the other side of this dynamic duo that we like to call the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. But DP, this is not just any podcast show today, DP. This is the first one of the 2024 year, man. So I want to say Happy New Year's, man, to all our everydayers. And if this is your first time, man, go ahead, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, go ahead and drop a comment, because I promise you, man, this is the best draft podcast that they have out there, man. But DP, we're gonna get this thing started with mock draft Monday. You know how we're gonna break this thing down, man. We're gonna go picks 1 through 10 in the first segment, picks 11 through 20 in the second segment, and then picks 21 through 32 in the third segment, DP. But before we get that started, man, why don't you hit them with our title sponsor?
This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code, all lowercase, LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, guys. So this is a mock draft from CBS Sports just a couple days ago from Josh Edwards. I think we've done a mock draft from him before. So if I remember correctly, his mock drafts were interesting. So let's get into it. Starting at number 1, Caleb Williams to the Chicago Bears with the Carolina Panthers pick. Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 2 to the Arizona Cardinals. Drake May at number 3 to the Washington Commanders. So no surprises just yet up until pick 4, with the New England Patriots select Joe Alt, left tackle from the University of Notre Dame. Then pick 5, we got Dallas Turner to the New York Giants. Pick 6, the Los Angeles Chargers select Brock Bowers, tight end out of the University of Georgia. Pick 7, the Tennessee Titans select offensive tackle Olu Fashanu from the University of Penn State. At number 8, the Chicago Bears double down with their original first pick and their second inside the top 10 and select LSU wide receiver Malik Neighbors. At number 9, we have J.C. Latham, right tackle, going to the New York Jets. And at number 10, Jayden Daniels, the quarterback from LSU, goes to the Atlanta Falcons. Keith, what stands out to you? I know I said in the opening, it's Joe Alt for me, but what stands out to you?
Yeah, DP, there's 2 that stand out. First of all, the Washington Commanders, right at pick 3. Taking Drake May, it's not surprising, but it's like, man, you're gonna replace one North Carolina quarterback with another North Carolina quarterback, right? And we know how fans are about that. They don't, kind of don't like seeing the same thing. But I also feel like potentially giving up on Sam Howell a little bit too early when there are other holes on this team, right? From this roster from top to bottom, which have been well documented over the past few years, but I could understand the pick. Then the next one, DP, and I think that's my biggest, if I had to have an issue in the top 10, it's Dallas Turner to the New York Giants. First, and it's for multiple levels, DP. First off, I think because he would be edge 1, right, off of the board, I believe.
Yeah.
He'll be edge 1 off of the board, in which I think at this point I disagree with from a consistency level, right? I think his ceiling is high. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a first-round talent, but you're talking about top 5, top 6 pick. Then secondly, DP, when we look at this New York Giants team, they did a good job drafting Kayvon Thibodeau, right? And so my thing is this, that you have kind of that linchpin future edge rusher, appears to be edge rusher 1 for your team, right? So I don't think you need to spend that much draft capital on another edge rusher when you still have holes like the offensive line, quarterback is an issue, right? You still want to get some more defensive pieces for this team. So or in other positions, let me say that. So I definitely think that is the Dallas Turner situation for me.
No, and I saw that and I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? Top 5. And you know me, I'm high on Dallas Turner as you are as well. But like you said, just edge one, and then this high is very high to me. But as I stated, guys, I'm not gonna pivot. Pick 4. The New England Patriots going with one of the best tackles and offensive linemen probably we've seen in the past couple years. And Joe Alt, 6'7", 322 pounds, left tackle from Notre Dame, right? The Fighting Irish. And I get everything. I understand it, right? But you have a quarterback problem. Like Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones, Keith, guys, this isn't going to get it done at quarterback. So unless you're telling me, hey, we're going to try to kick the tires on Russell Wilson, we're going to try to kick the tires on the veteran and then draft a guy in rounds 2 or 3, whether it's Michael Pratt or Spencer Rattler, you know what I mean, and let them sit behind a vet. All right, maybe I can get behind that. But right now, your clear problem is at quarterback. Like, yes, I get that you do need to upgrade the offensive line. I'm not going to dispute that. But again, with Jayden Daniels, a potential game changer, right? To take the words from the illustrious Cam Newton, you have game changers at quarterback and you have game managers at quarterback. You got trucks, you got hitches, then you got trailers. I think personally with the skill set and tools that Jayden Daniels has and what he put on display in college football in flashes in 2022, but especially what he did in 2023, I think this young man could be a truck, Keith. You know what I'm saying? I think he has that skill set to not only beat you with his arm, not only beat you down the field, he can drive throw. He has the arm talent to drive throws into tight windows in the middle of the field, different things like that. But when push comes to shove, right? You know what I'm saying? What Pac say? I ain't a killer, but don't push me. But you know what I'm saying? So when you look at Jayden Daniels, it's like, I'm not just a pocket passer. If you really push me and you play man-to-man and you don't corral me in the pocket, I'm going to beat you for 70, and it's going to be a touchdown. This is one of the few quarterbacks, Keith, I truly believe that we look at and say speed-wise or as a run, not fully as a runner, but speed-wise, straight line. We haven't seen anything like this come through the draft since Lamar Jackson. The acceleration, the burst, the open field speed. He's got a big arm to push it down the field, and he is the best deep ball thrower in the NFL draft. So for me, it's hard for me to pass that up and say, let's attack the trenches, especially in such a deep tackle class, Keith.
Yeah, with DP, real quick, I think this is a testament to where we are now, preseason, talking about pre-college football season and probably the first 3 weeks of the college football season, to where we thought they would have 5 quarterbacks, so we would for sure have 3 in the top 10, right? To now, nobody's, especially in the draft community, and we'll see how the actual quote-unquote NFL feels, right? But yeah, I feel like it's pretty tough to throw that third quarterback in the top 5 right now. And I think that's what you like for a lot of people, right? And I think that's what you're starting to see the difficulties of that. So we talked about it on the podcast and we continue to talk about it. It'll be interesting to see who's QB3, who's identified as QB3, and then how high they're able to go, right? So I think that'll be the biggest conversation. But DP, let's keep this thing going. Let's keep it flowing, man. Next up, right, we said picks 11 through 20. I think it's more excitement, more high fire coming up. So everybody, make sure you stay tuned.
Today's episode, Locked On NFL Draft, is brought to you by PrizePicks. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Do you want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and or comedian Andrew Schultz? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each and every week. PrizePicks even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. Guys, today, this afternoon, this evening, On prospects, I'm taking Jalen Milroe, quarterback from Alabama versus Michigan in the college football playoffs for more than 208.5 passing yards. So go to prospects.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, Keith, we kick off pick 11 right in your neck of the woods with the New Orleans Saints at pick 11 selecting edge from UCLA, Latu Latu. The Green Bay Packers go offensive tackle out of Georgia, Amarius Mims. The Las Vegas Raiders at pick 13 select quarterback. Got QB4 off the board, and that is J.J. McCarthy from Michigan. At pick 14, the Denver Broncos select cornerback from Clemson, Nate Wiggins, CB1, already off the board. Then we have pick 15, where the Minnesota Vikings get edge 3, Jared Verse from Florida State. Pick 16, the Arizona Cardinals add to their cornerback room with Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama. At pick 17, Talise Fuaga, offensive tackle from Oregon State, is a Pittsburgh Steeler. At pick 18, wide receiver from Washington, Rome Odunze, goes to the Cincinnati Bengals to replace Tee Higgins. Pick 19, Terrion Arnold, cornerback from Alabama, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And to round out to pick 20, the Indianapolis Colts continue to add to their defensive line with Jerzon Newton, defensive lineman from the University of Illinois. Keith, let's start with you. What stands out to you from picks 11 through 20?
DP, I don't know if you can. Can we scroll back to the top of this? And I told everybody to stay tuned, right? Because I knew this draft was going to get
to the
really
very
interesting,
top?
right? And I just wrapped up, DP. I wrapped up last segment talking about the quarterbacks, right? Like, oh, you may not feel comfortable drafting a quarterback this high. Well, listen, if they're quarterbacks that's going to go at pick 10 and pick 12, right? Pick 10 and pick 13, I'm sorry. Then maybe you just trade back a couple spots and grab your guy at pick 8 or 9, right? So that whole diatribe I just went on in the last segment, DP, that gets totally unwrapped just because now we have 4 in the top 12 to 13, right? So that's the first thing that jumps off to me. But I'm not going to be critical, right? It's a new year, right? We bring in positive vibes. We bring in good blessings. You know, everybody be able to prosper in 2024. I'm going to say there are some teams that are prospering with these draft picks. DP, the Marius Mims to the Green Bay Packers. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love it because if you potentially drafted the guy who you feel like can replace David Bakhtiari, right, at the left tackle position, and David Bakhtiari is one of the best left tackles, I'll be honest, that I ever watched in the NFL, man. The dude is if he's healthy, he's the best. But it's been 3 years since he's been healthy, so I really like that pick. And then DP, down in Bayou Country, right? The New Orleans Saints, they draft edge rusher Latu Latu. I think they finally got it right, DP. They keep swinging. This is Isaiah Foskey. This is Marcus Davenport. This is Peyton Turner, right? That's 3 right there in the past, 5 years. And then they go and draft UCLA edge rusher Latu Latu. I think they finally got it right, DP. I think they finally got him one. That's what stands out to me, though. That the picks 10, 11, 12, and 13 on the top of that draft, because they're very interesting picks.
No, I think they knocked it out the park with Latu Latu as well, and I think he's a different style rusher from Isaiah Foskey. So talking about longevity wise, you have a second round pick from 2023. I think that was the 2023 draft. So you got a second round pick in Isaiah Foskey, day 2 pick that you can continue to develop, and then you got a NFL ready made skill set with Latu Latu. The quick hands, he's listed at 6'5", 265. Guy is like quick off the ball. He's got quick hands, very crafty as a pass rusher. He's a close quarter pass rusher, Keith, where, when you look at his game, he is going to, he doesn't have the greatest arm length, sub 33 and everything per Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowl. But at the same time, once he gets close to tackles, he gets his punches off. They're quick, they're decisive, and I think that will really give them an answer for whenever Cam Jordan decides to retire. Keith, for me, man, it's a couple things here, but I got to go right here, baby. Pick 18. The rich gets richer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got people on Twitter. I saw a tweet that somebody asked that we got to have a question about Joe Burrow. They was like, man, like he had Jamar Chase and all these weapons at LSU. Then he gets to Cincinnati, and after 1 year, he gets all those weapons all over again with Tee Higgins and Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase. Then you're like, oh man, he's going to the free agency, and they just reload.
Yeah, there'll be no Joe Burrow slander on this podcast, right? You know what I'm saying? We not slandering Joe Burrow at all. It don't matter. You
It
give him all the
wasn't me.
weapons.
It was the Twitter streets. Okay, it was the
That's
streets
what
of
we're talking
Twitter.
about.
The
I'm
streets of
letting the
X.
Twitter streets know. Yeah, there's no slander. But
The
now keep
streets of
going, DP, because I do like the pick also.
I love this pick, Keith. You know what I mean? 6'3", 215 pounds, a little different skill set in terms of like speed, route running, just fluidity between him and Tee Higgins. Tee Higgins is more of the bigger, big, strong, power forward type who has open field speed as well. But you're gonna run a little bit more variety of routes with Rome Odunze. And I think Rome brings that big play ability as well. Talking about the back shoulder fade, the goal ball, the 50-50 contested catches that we saw him absolutely dominate single coverage. And what's really big to me, Keith, is he also pairs well in terms of his movement ability, his alignment versatility. He can kick down into the slot, right? Like he can run routes out of the slot. So you think about, Keith, if Tyler Boyd was to walk away, like you let him walk into free agency, you have Andre Yoshivas from Princeton, right? That we've seen him flash and make big plays in 2023 as a rookie, right? Now you have speed and size with all three of these guys. With Jamar Chase being the wide receiver one, he's going to dictate the coverage. He's going to get double teamed now, right? And then defenses will be like, okay, Andre, can you beat us every week? Okay, Rome, can you beat us every week? And those guys can, Keith. And it's like giving them one-on-ones. I love Joe Burrow also is one of the best pure passers in the NFL. So you think about watching Rome catch some of the most prettiest passes that just float and layer over the top of the defense. A guy that's extremely accurate. Does Joe Burrow have the strongest arm? No, but he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. So Rome Odunze going from Michael Penix Jr. to Joe Burrow, again, on both sides of this spectrum, the rich get richer, Keith. So Rome gets richer by going from one legit quarterback prospect to another, and then Joe Burrow says, okay, we lose Tee Higgins, but now we get Rome Odunze, and I love that. And then I think for me, Keith, the other one was this one, pick 17.
Yeah,
There's a phrase where like, you know what I mean, Keith, and I know you've done it, I've done it too, where we're watching tape on a guy, and we like, man, he just looks like X team. Like he looks like he belongs on X team. And Talise Fuaga, one of my guys, one of Dame's dudes, 6'6", 334, power, road grader. Dude is a bully. He plays bully ball. And this is why I love this pick, Keith. He fits Mike Tomlin in that physical style of play, right? But now you pair him with last year's first round pick, Broderick Jones. You got two bookend tackles, Keith. And now
moving forward.
Kenny Pickett, I don't think is the guy. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. I think he has 13 career passing touchdowns with plenty of help at receiver and everything. I just don't think Kenny Pickett's the guy. But you got to fix the trenches first before you go and try and improve the QB situation. I think Talise Fuaga, man, they want to run the ball. They want to get Najee Harris going. They want to get Jalen Warren going. They want to run the football, Keith. Guys, they want to run the football. Talise Fuaga is going to help that along with Broderick Jones. Now, excuse me, you have two bookend tackles. That means your interior three can help each other out, play as bumpers, double team, different things like that, where you legitimately are good on the offensive line and you feel good walking into 2024 if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, DP. I think that's a good pick. And I'll just right before we transition real quick, I just want to give a shout out to Terrion Arnold at pick. What is that pick? 19 to the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think he fits that identity a lot. I think that's Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles has done enough to be the head coach next year, and I think he's going to really enjoy a defensive piece like Terrion Arnold, a guy that we talked about on the podcast that is rapidly rising during this draft process. But DP, let's keep going, man. We're on to the third segment, right? We're wrapping this thing up, man, with picks 21 through 32. And I know this is going to be interesting because there's still a lot of high-profile names, DP, that we have yet to see. So I'm excited to see which players go to which teams.
Family, the NFL season is wrapping up and coming to an end, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when they place a $5 bet. Let me repeat that. New customers can get $150 back in bonus bets guaranteed when they place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Okay. Can't really beat a deal like that. The app is super easy to use. There's so many ways to bet, like live same game parlays, finding bets in the new Explorer tab. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and so much more. So visit fanduel.com/locked-on and make your first bet a layup. Visit fanduel.com/locked-on to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL. Let's bring this thing home, guys. Starting at pick 21, the Seattle Seahawks select edge rusher from Ohio State, JT Tuimoloau, 6'4", 270. And then next at pick 22, the Jacksonville Jaguars add Keon Coleman, wide receiver from Florida State, to their offense. At pick 23, cornerback Cooper DeJean from Iowa goes to the Los Angeles Rams. At pick 24, Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo, goes to the Buffalo Bills. Pick 25, the Kansas City Chiefs said, man, we got to fix this wide receiver situation. They go to Ohio State, the Mecca, and go eat Mecca, Egbuka, wide receiver. Pick 26, safety from Minnesota is from Tyler Nubin, goes to the Dallas Cowboys. At pick 27, the Houston Texans add another explosive edge rusher out of Penn State, Chop Robinson. Pick 28, the Detroit Lions add to their cornerback room with Denzel Burke out of Ohio State. Pick 29, that was pick 28. Pick 29, the Miami Dolphins add offensive lineman from Duke, Graham Barton. Pick 30, the Philadelphia Eagles add offensive tackle from Arizona, Jordan Morgan. Pick 31, the San Francisco 49ers add right tackle Kingsley Suamataia from BYU. And then pick 32, the Baltimore Ravens add one of my guys, offensive lineman Troy Fautanu from the University of Washington. Keith, where are we beginning here?
We start at the end, DP. We start right at the end because the Baltimore Ravens, man, they're once again putting on a masterclass on how to draft, right? And you're starting to see the fruits of their labor, DP, from that 2022 draft class, right? You're talking about Tyler Linderbaum, Kyle Hamilton, right? And those guys. And it's simply watching the film. This is what I feel their process is, DP. Watching the film, right? Evaluating the players, giving them a draft grade. And then when it gets to their pick, taking the best player available, right? Like just who plays the best level of football, right? Not overcomplicating this thing. And here they go once again, DP, because in that same draft, remember it was, how high could Kyle Hamilton go? Then he runs the 40 time, and they say, you know what does he do on film, right? How does he play on film? Tyler Linderbaum. Remember, Tyler Linderbaum was this all-world center until he stepped on the scale. He was only 295 pounds or 300 pounds. He was a little too light, right? And they say, you know what? We'll take him because he can play football, right? And I think you see it once again, DP, that they're just sitting there standing pat, right? We don't have to move up, move down. We're just going to take the player, take what's best available, and it's going to be a good football player if we've evaluated him the correct way. So, yeah, shout out to the Baltimore Ravens. So that's the biggest thing that stands out. But, I mean, just that run on tackles, DP, 32, 31, 30, I think that's the true value, period. Honestly, I don't know how many first-round grades I'm going to have on players, but if majority of them, that's 4 offensive tackles to round out the draft. I think that's the best value right there with the offensive tackles in this entire draft class.
No, and that run is incredible to me, Keith, just to watch it. For me, I got to start here at pick 25. Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver from Ohio State, 6'1", 206, good open field speed, good route runner, good hands. But he projects to be kind of a slot guy, really. You don't see a lot of reps with him outside. I think that he can play outside, but you don't see a ton of it. And for me, it's like, I don't really like the pick. Keith, I'm gonna be honest. I don't like the fit here. For me, I'd rather have a Xavier Legette. I'd rather have a Troy Franklin to pair with Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce. You know what I mean? With Pat Mahomes, where, like I said, I like Emeka Egbuka, but it's just we had Marvin, Malik, Rome, Keon. So that will make Emeka Egbuka wide receiver 5. And I don't know if he's wide receiver 5, Keith. So, like, that's very tough for me. He was my wide receiver 2 in the summer. And that's when, but that was before the season, before guys started really balling out. Malik Neighbors took his game to a different level. Keon Coleman balled out, especially early on, different things like that. And then Rome Odunze's been the stud all season. So for me, man, I think this is one of the picks that stood out to me the most was like, does this truly fix the wide receiver issue, right? Because if you don't use, I'm not saying that he is, but if you don't use Emeka Egbuka and get the best out of him, this would be another Sky Moore situation. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like it was more hope than, and especially coming off a season where he's been hindered with injuries, different things like that. I like the skill set. I like the kid. I like the kid. I like his game. But right now, with the other options and what they need, I believe in, the slogan that we always talk about, build the wide receiver room like a basketball team. I don't feel like you're getting the best spacing by adding Emeka Egbuka to Rashee Rice and God knows whatever else they got at receiver in Kansas City.
No, and you talk about a basketball team, right? You need shooters, right? And that's what this Kansas City Chiefs team is lacking right now. Is lacking somebody that can go and get their own buckets, DP, right? That you could just give the ball to them in the fourth quarter. And you know what? They could go get 10, 12 points this fourth quarter by their doggone self. There's no assists needed right now. Right now, you have a lot of wide receivers, DP, that need assists, right? Need the layups, need you to put them in position and draw up the right play coming out of a timeout, right? Like just to get you in that situation. So I agree with you, DP. I don't, if I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I do not feel comfortable with that selection. And then you telling me that at that moment that's going to turn around everything with what we see is wrong with this Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver core right now.
And Keith, and even further, like I'm gonna scroll up a little bit, right? Because what was it? Pick 18. Rome Odunze goes to one of your rivals, the Cincinnati Bengals. You telling me that you know that he's on the board? You know Cincinnati is losing Tee Higgins, and you don't say to yourself as and Brett Veach is one of the best GMs in the NFL. I highly doubt he's gonna sit back, stand pat, and say, you know what, we're gonna. Because remember this past draft, in 2023 last year, it was after working out with Zay Flowers. All the talk was Mahomes wanting Zay Flowers. Mahomes loves Zay Flowers, and they didn't move up to get Zay Flowers. They let him go to the Baltimore Ravens, right? It's a situation similar to that. I don't think Brett Veach I don't think he will feel comfortable if it played out like this, to go to sleep that night after round one and said, okay, yeah, we got Emeka Egbuka, but we could have just traded up. We could have swapped first-round picks with someone ahead of them, right? Like ahead of the Bengals. You could have swapped picks with the Steelers, with the Cardinals, somebody, right? The Cardinals could have got Kool-Aid McKinstry or another cornerback later on, right? Denzel Burke, Quinyon Mitchell, they still could have addressed corner. You could have swapped picks with them, send them a third or fourth-round pick, right? And then you move up to pick 16, 15, draft Rome Odunze. Now you got yourself a true 1-2 punch at wide receiver and allow Travis Kelce to kind of age with grace, baby, because right now he's getting older and you ask him to carry the load of this receiving of this passing game. And it's not fair to him as just being the tight end, a guy that's getting older in this game and battling some injuries. So I just feel like, man, Emeka Egbuka, good player. I would have rather seen them move up and take the guy at number 18 ahead of where he went in number 18. Move up with the Cardinals or somebody and go get Rome Odunze if you're really serious about getting Patrick Mahomes the weapons that he needs.
Yep, and I'm on the other side, right? I think Xavier Worthy's out there. I think Xavier Legette is out there, right? There's some other explosive playmakers.
Facts. No, good point.
Yep, but DP, that wraps up, man, the first episode of the Locked On NFL Draft podcast, man, in 2024, and I feel really good about this, right? If that's setting the tone for what's more to come, guess what? We are on our way to having a really good year over here, man. I want to say, man, shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day, man. If you haven't hit that like button, go hit that like button. If you haven't commented, go ahead and comment, man. This mock draft is full of all 32 teams, right? So go ahead, interact. Tell us exactly how you feel about your team selection. selection. And like we always like to say, man, we have the conversation, right? Listen, I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code, man. That is my co-host right there, Damian Parson, man. You can find him on X at DP_NFL, man. And like we like to say, man, y'all talk to us because we talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Guys, it's a new year, new day. Stay tapped in with us here on the Locked On NFL Draft podcast. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. And remember, Happy New Year. Be safe. Have a great day today. And listen, come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.